Hello friends, my name is Ramasu. Today we shall discuss about a topic, the control scope. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in project management or you are planning to give exam of PMP in near future. So let's start. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that many videos can reach to you. Friend, control scope is the process of monitoring the status of the project and product scope and managing changes to the scope baseline. The key benefit of this process is that it allows the scope baseline to be maintained throughout the project. Control project is the process of monitoring the status of the project and product scope and managing changes to the scope baseline. The control scope is a process that allows the scope baseline to be maintained throughout the life cycle of the project. The inputs for control scope are project management plan, project documents, work performance data, organizational process assets. Project management plan. The process of controlling a scope involves many objectives that are to be met. The following criteria from the project management plan will help in managing the scope. Scope management plan. The process of monitoring and controlling the project scope is the key benefit of the scope management plan. Requirement management plan, a process that is part of project management plan which describes how the project requirements are analyzed, documented and managed. Change management plan, as the title suggests, the process of change management mainly concentrates on the changes that are taking place in the project during its life cycle. Configuration management plan, the process is used to identify the components that require formal change control and implementing the process of control change to monitor the desired changes. Scope baseline. The scope baseline is the approved project scope and used during scope changes management to determine and prevent scope creep. Scope baseline primarily comprises the project scope statement, work breakdown structure, and WBS dictionary. Only upon implementing this scope baseline can the project be directed in the right direction. Performance measurement baseline. During the process of using an earned value analysis, the performance measurement baseline is used to compare the actual results to determine if a change, corrective action, or a preventive action is necessary. Project documents. It includes the lesson learned document to improve the scope control of the project. The lesson learned during the earlier stages of the project are accordingly applied or implemented in the project. Requirement documentation. The project requirements should always be traced, tested, measured, complete, consistent, and importantly acceptable to the stakeholders. To ensure that this happen, the requirement should be well documented to make it easier for the project manager to detect any deviation in the project. Requirement traceability matrix. The requirement traceability matrix is a tool that helps in detecting and identifying the impact of any changes that affect the project to deviate from the projected scope baseline and deliverables. Work performance data. Work performance data is a method that documents the number of change requests received, the number of approved changes, and also the number of project deliverables completed. Organizational process assets. The organizational process assets include any particular policies and procedures that have been laid down by the performing organization regarding scope management. It also covers aspects like formal and informal scopes that exist in a company and also looks into the methods of monitoring and reporting. The tools and technique, which includes variance analysis and trend analysis. Now, what is actually variance analysis? Friend, variance analysis is basically is a method that is used to determine the degree and cause of differences that occur between the project baseline and the actual performance happening during the execution stage. Only when the comparison is made can the project manager analyze the performance of the project. Trend analysis. Trend analysis is the method used to examine a project performance from time to time to see whether the performance of the project is determining or improving, deteriorating or improving. The outputs include for control scope are work performance information, change request, project management plan updates, and the project document updates. Work performance information. The work performance information documents information on how the project scope is actually performing when compared to the scope baseline, the cause for the scope variance, and the results that the change yield. Everything is documented under the work performance information. The entire process will provide a foundation for making scope decisions for the project. Change request. The change request to the scope baseline or other aspects of the project management plan usually arise when analyses are carried out on the scope performance. Change requests consist of preventive or corrective actions, defect repair, or enhancement request. Project management plan updates, which include the scope management plan. The scope management plan will be updated to reflect any changes that occur in the project to show how the scope will be managed. Scope baseline update. Whenever the approved change request affect the project scope, the scope statement, the WBS, and the WBS dictionary are to be altered to meet the changes and are executed accordingly. Schedule baseline. Any changes to the schedule baseline are incorporated in response to the approved changes in scope, resources, or schedule estimates. In certain situations, a revised schedule baseline is required to provide a realistic basis for performance measurements. Cost baseline. Cost baseline purpose is the same as schedule baseline. Whatever changes that occur are incorporated in response to the approved changes in scope, resources, or cost estimates. In certain situations, a revised cost baseline is required to provide a realistic basis for performance measurement. Then performance measurement baseline. Every changes required to related to the performance measurement baseline is incorporated in response to approved changes in scope, schedule performance, or cost estimates. Project documents update, which includes some of the documents like lesson learned register. The lesson learned register could be updated with techniques that are efficient and effective in controlling scope, including causes of difference and chosen corrective action for the completion of the project. Requirement documentation. The requirement documentation is mainly used to be updated with additional or changed requirements. Requirement traceability matrix. The primary purpose of the requirement traceability matrix is that it has to be updated to reflect updates in requirement documentation. So friend, thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you, friends.